Malignaggi for Paulie TV. We're back. We're live on YouTube. I'll tell you, bro. I like this. Look at this. My hair again. Look at this. Look at this. I'll just scratch it up. Anyway, I'm actually kind of. I think this live stuff is kind of cool. You know, like personally, Jimmy, I got a lot of friends, but for those that don't have friends, imagine you could just go live and just chat it up with people like randomly, and you just take up your time.
You're a streamer.
I don't know, but you know, I'm a little bit worried about the whole metaverse thing because I feel like if we get to a world like that, nobody's gonna leave their house. They can just kind of program everything around their house to make it look like they're in Thailand or make it look like they're in Sicily, and they don't actually go there.
Do you know what I own?
Do I what?
Do you know what I own?
What do you own?
Metaboxingchampionship.com.
Boom. All right. I don't know if that's good or bad, but you know what?
The NBC, nice. I'm going to be having the first belts like in the Metaverse. So.
All right. All right. That's cool. That's what I'm saying. You can even fight without actually getting hit. That's kind of weird, bro. It's never nobody. I don't know. And then you know what?
Remember
yeah, I know. The headpiece scratched my whole nose. Yeah. I know. It's crazy, bro. This beak of mine, as if it didn't get hit enough. Didn't get hit enough in my pro boxing career. I had it all scraped up.
We will be dropping that footage soon too.
That was a terrible experience.
That was a tough fight.
Yeah, I sweated. It was like a real fight, bro. I'm telling you. I'll tell you guys right now. I couldn't stand it because it was like stressful to be back in a fight like that, like randomly. But I'll tell you, you want to work out, do 10 rounds a day on that thing, bro. I mean, you might shorten your life because you're on such stress mode every time you're fighting. But I'll tell you, bro. You're sweating, man.
We need to drop that footage.
I sweated there, bro. Yeah. If I do that every day, I could get in fight shape. I don't know if I get fight sharp because the timing on the computer, I don't really feel like is that close to the real thing as people think it is. But I'd get fight shape. Like you'll get conditioned. You'll lose weight. I could definitely afford to lose a couple pounds myself. You know.
Maybe we'll do a little training camp with that.
Yeah, I don't know, bro. But you know what? You gotta like mix it though. You gotta have some real sparring in there too. If you're having a training camp for a fight, you gotta have some real sparring in there too. Yeah, you can't get used to not feeling the punches. It's too weird, you know. Like psychologically, there's a thing about actually feeling the shots and understanding that there's an importance to the way you're gonna fight and gauge the way you're gonna take the shots or ride with the shots or whatever. You know, you don't get that on the Metaverse game. And also, one thing I really did not like in that game. Why did we even end up on this conversation? We're talking about April fights, and now we're on this. But I'll tell you one thing.
You brought the Metaverse.
One thing that I'm going to say. I didn't like feints are completely useless in that game. The guy doesn't bite on feints, and I was a big feint guy. You know what I mean? Like, and there was you can't. The feints are not implemented into the game yet. They got to really adjust that. So you're literally just fighting. You're not even faking the guy out. Like, you know, feigning a foot feint or a shoulder feint or just a juke. And, you know, you make a guy react. A normal human being will react to a feint, especially when you're cracking them. After you're cracking them, they'll react even more to your feints. Bro, that's why it was also so hard and so gut-wrenchingly sweaty. Made me so gut-wrenchingly sweaty because I had to fight the guy off every second. I couldn't buy my breaks with little feints that would step back, you know? I don't know, bro. I wasn't a fan of it, but I sweated my ass off. And if you got to lose weight, it's not a bad way to do it. I suppose it's more fun than just jogging or just going to the gym and just, you know, trying to look good at the gym. I don't know. Just my take, the pros and cons of the meta boxing game. But what are we talking? You know, later I'm gonna be on FightHub.tv, right? FightHub TV. FightHub.tv on YouTube. Check it out. I'm going to be calling some live fights with the Colonel. Not the Kentucky Fried Chicken Colonel. The Colonel, the boxing Colonel. You guys know him. I'm going to be calling some fights later with him. And it's going to be live on YouTube on FightHub.tv. And is it also the Boxing Voice or no?
And the Boxing Voice.
And the Boxing Voice as well. Calling some small fights out of Mexico. You guys check us out live. Leave your comments. Those that have joined me on those, you know already. You know, sometimes I'll literally, sometimes the fights are so boring that I wind up having a conversation with you. You know, so it's cool. You know, give us your take. Hopefully we got some good fights. It's not big fights, but you know, it's a chance to all hang out together, congregate, and see some possible prospects and give your take and just chat it up and, you know, be nice. So, you know, not everybody's nice all the time. You could be nice.
All right.
Okay. April fights. April's a big month in boxing. We're getting everything started here. What's the schedule? Let's go. We got. I know we were talking about earlier about Ryan Garcia.
Well, there's 5 title fights.
Okay.
And
there's
April
Tyson
9th.
Fury and Dillian Whyte too, right?
Yeah, that's the 23rd. So the first title fight is in Japan. GGG.
Golovkin, Murata. Boom. I think Murata is a bit overrated as a prize fighter. Matter of fact, it's one of the bigger overrated guys. But I don't think of, when I think of him overrated, I don't think of him directly because he's not in the U.S. and he's not really making a big storm in the U.S. But in Japan, he's got a big name, and honestly, I don't think he's got the stuff to actually have a major world title. I know he won that secondary world title not that long ago, but I don't think he is the caliber of a major world champion. I think he's a good fighter. He had success at the Olympics, right? What was he? Did he win a gold medal at the Olympics? He was a Japanese Olympian. Sure. He was very good at the Olympics. I met him actually when I was in Tokyo. Nice kid. Developed into a relatively good fighter, but I just don't think, even an older GGG, I think beats Murata rather handily. But we'll see. We'll see the fight. And it'll also allow us to gauge where GGG is at in terms of, how far past his prime is he at this age? Interesting enough, because it'll be a big fight in Japan. Isn't Golovkin half Korean himself? Whoa!
I right. He's Pakistani.
I think Golovkin is partially. I think his mom is Korean. I know Bivol is half Asian. I don't know if Golovkin for sure is, but I think I've heard that as well. So. Who knows? Maybe there'll be some fans there too. The fight is in Japan, the whole camaraderie thing. We'll see, But good schedule. Golovkin Murata starts the April festivities, the April fireworks out with Golovkin and Murata.
What does that mean for
Triple G? He wants to look good. He's looking for the Canelo fight, which they're talking about again. I think that fight happens regardless of whether Canelo beats Bivol or not. I think it's a good fight. I think it's a fight. I do think it's a little bit past Golovkin's prime to get there, but I did call that. I called that. I said once Canelo got the win, I said they're only gonna do a third fight once Golovkin is past his prime. I said that from the start, and here we are, just like I said. So that's being discussed for the post-Bivol schedule for Canelo. Either way, we'll watch. It's fun. Canelo's very popular. Everybody's gonna tune in no matter who he fights, and so I think we'll still tune in. But I think it's something that it'll be interesting to see. My mother's calling me on my cell phone. Moms always have the worst timing. No, remember that commercial? But there's listen. Schedule is exciting either way. Whether Canelo's schedule, the April schedule, we're in. So that he's got to look good though to really make it interesting, to make it a sellable marketing point. For Canelo versus GGG. Naturally, he's got to win, not just look good. But I believe he's going to win. Based on what I've seen from Murata, I don't think he's going to be able to beat Golovkin.
And that same night is Ryan Garcia's return. We just talked about
Ryan Garcia's return the same night. We have a show coming out for you where I'll discuss all that. Emmanuel Tagoe is not a slouch. He's actually a pretty good fighter. I used to talk to Asamoah Gyan for all you soccer football fans out there. And Asamoah Gyan was an international Ghanaian star in soccer. And I used to talk with him when I was active on Twitter. We used to talk boxing. He was a big boxing fan. We used to have conversations and stuff on Twitter, in the DMs and whatnot. And basically he was telling me he was managing this fighter years ago, because I've since gotten off of Twitter being so active because otherwise I'll get myself canceled. And I've lost touch with Asamoah Gyan. But at the time, we would talk about soccer, we'd talk about boxing, we'd have the occasional conversation, catch up. And he was telling me he was managing a fighter named Emmanuel Tagoe, and he predicted Emmanuel Tagoe would be a big deal. Now, I have not talked to Asamoah Gyan in a long time, so I don't know if he's still involved with Tagoe. But I remembered him big-upping Tagoe, and Tagoe continuing to win since then, but never really getting the recognition. So I'm curious to see how he'll look. While everybody's talking about Ryan Garcia, obviously I'm curious about Ryan Garcia myself. I'm very high on Ryan Garcia in a lot of ways and disappointed in him in some other ways. But I have a lot of curiosity about Garcia regardless. But just in the same manner, I have a lot of curiosity about Emmanuel Tagoe. That fight will be April 9th in Texas. Fun fight as well. What do we got? Anybody? What does everybody think of the schedule? We live here. We're live. What was everybody saying over here?
Everybody's saying,
what's going on over here?
Yo, Paulie, hate to say it, you got washed by Artem.
That's hard. I mean, I hate to say it if you thought I got washed by Artem. I hate to say the level of your intelligence. I don't have to hate you to say it. You don't even have to hate to say it yourself. If you're a boxing fan, I didn't get washed by Artem, even with one hand. But bro, doesn't hurt your feelings. You have to say that, don't you? When you have that level, when you're that level of hatred, that you're blind even to what you're seeing Or that, or you're just too dumb to understand what you're watching. That could be the case too. I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt by saying that it's a hatred, but because I don't want to say you're too dumb to actually understand that what you were watching in the fight. But I watched Artem and got robbed, even one-handed. Go ahead.
He's half Korean, half Russian. Triple G's mom is 100% Korean.
See, and then Bivol, I think, is that mix too. So there could be some some camaraderie there. Some of the Koreans could come over from Japan, and make that have a little Golovkin cheering section. Not to mention Russia's not that far from Japan either. So I think. And Murata is a major star in Japan. I think that fight's going to probably be a sellout in Japan. Great place to put it, considering the backgrounds of both fighters and the origin of both fighters. I don't think it's going to be that great of a fight as it'll probably be hyped up in Japan. But nonetheless, I think it's in a great place to put it.
They're asking about Bivol.
Bivol. What does everybody think about Bivol? What does everybody think is Bivol's chance to see with Canelo? I think it's a really dangerous fight, man. I don't know.
That's in May, though. That's in May.
Okay, we're not going to go into May, guys. We're not going to go into May. We're going to stay in April. We got too much of a schedule in April.
Yeah. So Spence Ugas next week.
Bro, Spence Ugas. We didn't even talk about that yet.
April
Spence
16th.
Ugas.
That's
okay.
the week after.
Spence Ugas. I probably favor Spence a little bit, but I'm curious to see, he's long layoff, the car accident, the eye retina surgery. Retina surgery is no joke, bro. I mean, some guys have had to retire off retina surgery, so you just don't know how guys are going to come back. Ugas is enjoying the best moment of his career. I thought he got robbed with Porter. I thought he boxed well with Pacquiao. Yes, it's past his prime Pacquiao, but nonetheless, Ugas has been performing very, very well in comparison to earlier in his career when he was, losing some fights that maybe we thought he might have not lost. He's got a good chin. I mean, he's been in with guys like Pacquiao. He's been in with guys like Amir Imam, who beat him on points, but Imam was the guy who was knocking everybody out. So And I think at this point he's actually doing his best boxing. So I don't think it's a cakewalk stylistically, and even overall you probably still favor Spence. But not I and not you can really describe in what condition Spence is going to return. And not in terms of conditioning, in terms of being in shape. Obviously he'll be in shape, but what kind of mindset he's going to have, how sharp he'll be after a long layoff. Because like I said, Ugas is enjoying the best moment of his career. Interesting fight. I look forward to watching it.
These comments are funny. They're all saying Spence, and then somebody's just grading your fight against Brenner. They got you.
Did he have me winning at least? Come on.
Yeah.
Oh,
no, he has you losing.
Man, he had me losing. All right. Oh, you know what? It was one of those fights. It was really close. I just felt like usually a close fight like that goes to the champion in his hometown, which I was the champion in my hometown in that fight, but somehow I didn't get it. But I mean, I don't have a problem. I think it was one of those could go either way fights. It just when the politics usually favor the guy who was in my position, and suddenly once I'm in that position, it favors the other guy. I was kind of teed off. But go ahead. Anybody else?
Another thing is his eye. Questions about his eye, but looks like
that's a major injury, bro. I mean, I've seen guys have had to retire from that injury. Let's face it, Sugar Ray Leonard had to take some long layoffs because of the retina injury as well. He retired a bunch of times. So, I assume if you get it done right, you're good. I think Ray Leonard is good, and certain other guys have come back from it and are good. But look at what happened to Morris. Has he fought still since the surgery? He may have retired at this point. I know he wanted to. When I talked to him, he wanted to come back, but I don't think he's been able to come back.
Cool. So that's okay. So next the weekend after that, Dillian Whyte and
Tyson Fury. I really like Dillian Whyte as a heavyweight. I think he's always in fun fights. I just think stylistically, this is the worst fight for him. I don't see him having much of a chance in the Fury fight. Granted, depends what kind of Fury we get that shows up. He says he's going to be the heaviest of his career, even heavier than the Wilder fight, and show up and beat Whyte. I think the heavier Fury shows up, the worse it is for him, because I felt like he looked a little more ordinary than he had looked previously, being that heavy. He got a little tired. And, one of the things everybody loves about Fury, obviously he's a great personality, he's a great fighter, but also the fact that he looks like he's a barroom guy, gets in the barroom brawls and just kicks the crap out of world-class heavyweights is sort of funny, because it's basically everybody who with the dad bod at home's best dream, that, you know what, you can look at him and say, I look like that, I can kick anybody's ass, and And it makes him sort of more of a fan favorite as well when you combine it with his personality and his world-class skills. But I do think, conditioning is a big factor in boxing. And because of that, I think if he keeps showing up heavy, it's going to be affected. I think that's going to be affect his performance. And Dillian Whyte is one of those guys who, like I described with Emmanuel Tagoe in the video you'll see once we post it, is one of those guys who has not yet reached that promised land. He's made a lot of money, though, unlike Tagoe. He's made a lot of money. He's been in big fights, but nonetheless, he's not reached that world championship level. He hasn't even gotten a world championship shot, which I think is criminal, considering some of the guys that get world title shots. And it's just, I think against Joshua would have been a good fight. I'm not saying he would have won. Obviously, he fought Joshua before Joshua won the heavyweight title, and it was a good fight. I think he would have been in a good fight against Wilder. I'm not saying he would have won it, but again, I think he would have been in a position where he could win it. Well, Fury, I just can't see him winning the fight. I don't see Whyte winning that fight. I look forward to watching it, though. It's a chance to watch Tyson Fury again, and it's a well-deserved title shot for Dillian Whyte, and I think he's going to be very motivated. So I'm curious to see how that fight plays out and shapes up.
Everyone's wondering if Fury's actually going to retire.
Fury?
Yeah, after this fight. That's
I don't know. I think Fury likes to play with people's minds. He goes in and out, jumps in and out of boxing, retires in and out. I don't know. It'd be a shame if we didn't get to see him have a chance to unify all the belts and fight the winner of Usyk and Joshua, which I think is also going to happen. I think Usyk was given permission to start training for that fight and leave the Ukrainian military. But I don't know. You never know with Tyson Fury. He surprises us all constantly with the decisions he makes. So you can't really pinpoint it and say that you for sure know what decision he's going to make. Just right now, we can only discuss him one fight at a time. And his next fight is with Dillian Whyte. So that's the one to discuss right now.
That's the one to discuss. And after that, 30th has two big fights.
30th, we got the female fight, right? Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano. Big fight. That's one I'm looking forward to as well. In New York, the city's so nice. They named it twice. New York. It's at Madison Square Garden. Possibly the biggest fight in female boxing history. Possibly. I know Jackie Frazier-Lyde and Layla Ali was a big deal back when it happened. But women's boxing wasn't on the platform that it is now. It's on major networks and a lot more people talking about it. At the time, I remember Layla Ali and Jackie Frazier-Lyde fought. It was a ton of press for it, but then it kind of just female boxing kind of just died out afterwards as far as a crossover potential that it might have picked up off of that fight. I think women's boxing in general as a whole is much more popular today. The fighters are much better today. And you got two of them going head-to-head with Taylor and Serrano. I think Serrano has not looked as good lately as she has in the past. And I do believe, it's my personal belief that that's why they made the Eddie Hearn made the Taylor matchup with Serrano now. It's still a dangerous fight, but Serrano has looked more ordinary than she had before. Serrano in the past I thought was... I would have picked, a few years ago, let's put it this way. A few years ago, I would have probably picked Serrano to beat Taylor. At this point, I'm most likely going to edge, and my prediction, because my prediction doesn't mean anything, but my prediction would probably be right now that Katie Taylor would beat her, the way they've both been, based on their both recent run of form. And then the 30th, we also have Shakur Stevenson and Valdez.
Yeah, everybody's asking, should they put their life savings on Shakur?
I mean, I wouldn't tell you to put your life savings on anything. I don't think anything's that sure of a sure bet. But in a fight of this magnitude with two world-class fighters and a world championship unification, Shakur is a pretty sure shot to me. Although, if you put your life savings on it, you're still not going to probably get that much money for it because he's probably going to be so heavy of a favorite. And if everybody keeps putting in their life savings, the odds are just going to get worse and worse and worse. So you're not even going to get to win that much money if you bet on Shakur in that way. But I cannot see Shakur Stevenson losing this fight. I cannot even see the fight being competitive, especially past the first 3 or 4 rounds. This fight reminds me a lot of the matchup I saw earlier in Floyd Mayweather's career against Jesus Chavez. Chavez came out like a bolt of lightning and really was competitive in basically the first 3 rounds, but he had to expend so much energy in trying to be that competitive that then Mayweather just washed him the rest of the way and stopped him late in the fight. I don't see Valdez getting stopped, but I see a pretty comfortable points win for Shakur Stevenson.
I've been here. Valdez is at Canelo's camp. Shakur apparently has been seen out doing stuff. Is that more of a sign of confidence, or? I think
that's more of a sign of like a TMZ type, Star Magazine type rumor stuff. I don't think.
That's people like here that we work with have been seeing him out.
Yeah. I don't know. there were times when I was in camp when I was training for a fight. When I was in certain camps, you couldn't go anywhere. Like Vero Beach was basically you wanted to hang yourself. There was nothing to do. but there were certain times I was in camp where I would go out and I wasn't drinking and I wasn't partying like that. But I just wanted to be around, mingle around human beings, so that my mindset could kind of be a little calm instead of always being in that tense training camp mindset 24/7. Sometimes you just wanted to give your mind a break before you went back to the gym the next day. I don't necessarily think that's always a bad thing. Listen, Floyd Mayweather lived in Las Vegas his whole career and was a superstar. So I don't necessarily think that has anything to do with anything, unless Shakur is acting undisciplined when he's out, which I don't hear that he has this undisciplined reputation. And if he was undisciplined, he probably wouldn't have had the success he's already had. So I can't see him being undisciplined in probably what's the biggest fight of his career thus far, because of the fact that it's a unification and it's against a bona fide championship level fighter.
Cool. And
that it?
Are you not a fan of Amanda?
I'm a big fan of Amanda, actually. I don't understand why when I predict something, it means I have to like or dislike somebody. Sometimes I actually like somebody more than the other person, but I just don't think they're going to win. I don't think... First of all, I think anybody who predicts fights based on who they like as opposed to what they know is an idiot, okay? Like, you can tell me... I'm actually rooting for Amanda to win that fight, to tell you the truth. I just based on the recent run of form, I just don't think she's been looking in a way compared to the way Katie's been looking that she's going to beat Katie. A couple of years ago, I would have picked Amanda. So I don't think, based on the way they were looking a few years ago, so I don't think predicting somebody to win or lose is a method of saying you like somebody more than the other. I gotta admit, I was guilty of this as well when I was fighting, because I was younger, and when you're younger, you're dumber. So I would anytime somebody picked against me, predicted against me, I always would like take offense to it. Oh, that guy doesn't think I'm gonna win this fight. I'm gonna remember that. It doesn't necessarily mean they like you more than the other person. Amanda's the New York fighter. I know her. I know her team. I'm gonna root for Amanda Serrano to win that fight. But if I'm going to make a prediction, even doesn't matter who I like and what I don't like. If I'm going to make a boxing knowledgeable prediction, and that in my opinion is boxing knowledgeable, then I have to make my prediction regardless of who I like or not. So I definitely like Amanda. I'm going to be rooting for Amanda in the fight, to tell you the truth, because there's a lot more in common there with the New York camaraderie and everything, and I've always felt that for New York fighters in general, especially when they're fighting people from out of town. So, no, I just feel like Amanda's been looking a little bit disinterested lately in the fights that I've seen her in. She's kind of just been through the motions, nothing dazzling. Looked pretty ordinary and just walking people down, even defensively irresponsible, even getting hit with stupid shots. She was just too strong and too good for the fighter she fought. She was a heavy favorite. I don't think really prepares you for the intensity of a Katie Taylor fight, who can kind of change rhythms. The opposition she'd been fighting wasn't able to change rhythms, and she never changed the rhythm herself, or even thought to do that. So I don't know if that's because she's disinterested or she's just taking them lightly. I think it's a terrific fight, and I make my prediction, but I still root for the person that I want to win. I'd love to see Amanda Serrano win that fight.
Please ask Paulie any plans to act again. He was great in Murata.
I don't really make plans to act. It just comes my way. I was in the show, I think it's on Amazon Prime. It's a show called Gravesend, but it's a series. They're shooting their second and third seasons now. I was in the very first episode. Unfortunately, they killed me off. Then they saw my acting chops and they said, "Man, I wish I wouldn't have gave you the character that got killed." But nonetheless, I don't have a lot of experience, so people don't know my acting reputation.
Wait, what's it called?
It's called Gravesend.
Is it on YouTube?
It's not on YouTube. It's on Amazon Prime.
Did the show come out yet?
Yeah. The first 4 episodes came out, and now they filmed a bunch of other episodes which will come out. I come back in a dream because I was the main character's best friend growing up, but I was kind of a wild hothead, and he's got to kill me because on commands of the upper echelon of the mafia. It's an 80s based mafia show. Pretty cool. I enjoyed playing the character, to be honest, because he was kind of a hothead, emotional person, and so it kind of comes easy for me to play. But they had to kill me off, and I can't. And so they were looking for ways to kind of involve me again because they liked the way I acted the part. So I came back in one dreams episode where he had a dream about me. It's a small part again. That'll be in season 2, I think, which is coming out soon.
So I don't know.
Yeah, but very small part, just like season 1. Season 1, I was like the main protagonist of the first episode, but I get killed at the end of the first episode.
Oh, so you like acted like how many lines did you have to read?
I had a few different scenes in the first episode. It's a half-hour episodes. But anyway, check it out, Gravesend. It's on Amazon Prime, I believe, and you should check it out if you want to see my acting chops. But I don't plan to do any acting. I think Hollywood is a degenerate place full of debauchery and just weird debauchery, because I'm not always against all kinds of debauchery. I myself have partaken in some acts of debauchery, but I think they're more normal in comparison to what's going on in Hollywood in today's what's considered normal Hollywood debauchery. So I'm not really crazy about that whole scene. So I don't know. I mean, if acting chances come my way, sure, I consider them, but I don't actively pursue them. I don't actively go for them. Any acting that I've done has just kind of been presented to me in front of me, and I either took it or turned it down. But I don't necessarily plan to do any acting, no.
Well, what's the show called?
Gravesend, which is a neighborhood in Brooklyn. It neighbors Bensonhurst, and has basically the same kind of crowd, or it was the same kind of crowd when I was growing up. Gravesend, Bensonhurst, Bay Ridge were all kind of neighboring neighborhoods that had the same kind of crowd. And the show's called Gravesend because it takes place in 1980s Gravesend.
You kind of ruined the first episode. You get killed off.
Yeah, I do. But it's a cool show to follow if you like anything 80s, and if you like, 80s mafia type shows. It's a cool show to follow. So I'd suggest you check it out, regardless of the fact that I got killed. I play a good role. I play a good hothead. I'll tell you that much.
All right, 5 more minutes here, Paulie. We have people asking you don't love Xander's Ice, but you said he could be the next face of boxing.
Yeah.
What do you think about
I think he's got all the talent in the world. I think he's one of the potential superstars of the next generation. Guys like him, he's even more committed than Ryan Garcia. I think, they have the backing, they have the following, they have the skills. Xander certainly is a kid that could develop into something special. I think he is something special now, but I think he can develop into a star potential special as the years go by.
Awesome, and kind of close. Paulie, what's the most degenerate partying night you've ever had?
Not for YouTube. Sorry, guys. I can't. I don't want to get myself canceled, bro. I'm not doing it. And everybody, especially in today's world where everybody's sensitive about anything. If I say the wrong thing here, somebody's going to clip it with just that piece like they did with me a couple months ago. And then they'll just, instead of taking the whole thing into context, and then they'll just talk about that particular piece instead of taking the whole thing into context, and they'll wreck me with it. So I can't take that chance again. It's a great question. If you see me in person, maybe I'll discuss it, but not on YouTube.
And there's a fight at Gleason's.
Really?
There's somebody's asking.
Amateur fights? Usually, Gleason's had amateur fights when I was young.
If you can go see me fight the Gleason's Masters tournament. Been training for 3 weeks.
When is it?
Rich Pritchard. When is it?
When is it? Because I'm no longer in New York most of the time, but I plan on being there in the warmer months, as long as New York stays semi-normal.
When do you think you'll be back at
New York?
Just in the gym.
Oh, in the gym?
Yeah.
What do you want me in the gym? What are you nuts?
Gleason's at the gym.
If I'm in the area, sometimes I'll go visit. I'm not in that Dumbo area that much anymore either, though. The Dumbo is for anybody that is wondering what Dumbo is. It's the neighborhood of Brooklyn that Gleason's is in. Dumbo standing for Down Under Manhattan Bridge Overpass. That's what Dumbo stands for. If anybody is wondering why they call that area of Brooklyn Dumbo. I'm not really in the Dumbo area that much. It was very ghetto when I was young, when I used to train there. Now it's very upscale, super gentrified, super expensive. No parking there at all. And if you find any parking, it'll cost you an arm and a leg. So I'm not in that area that much because I don't really care to go that much. It's not like it's calling for me when I'm in Brooklyn. I like to stay in my own neighborhood. But when I'm in the area, for one reason or another, I do swing by Gleason's gym. So I don't plan on it, but it's here and there I'll go to it. But when is his Masters show? Because I know that Gleason's has always done little shows. I fought there as an amateur a couple
August
times
26th.
August 26th. I can't tell you my schedule that far ahead of time, to be honest. But if August 26th I'm around, I'll do my best to show up.
26th or 28th. All right. Well, you got the show tonight that you're announcing?
Yeah. Check us out on fighthub.tv on YouTube, all right?
And the
Search us and the Boxing Voice on YouTube. We're going to go live like I said, keep us company, man. You know, we can just do some live discussions while we're on the air. That's what we've done before, and you know. It's like basically like kicking back and watching the fights with your friends. That's how these kind of small shows that I've been working here in the studios have been, you know, just having conversations with you guys, anybody that tunes in, and just chatting it up while we call the fights. It's very relaxed, very chill, and it's pretty cool.
I won't be on it. Don't worry.
Yeah, we won't have Jimmy. I'll be with the Colonel later.
Okay.
Awesome. All right, and we're getting off. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for jumping in. And it's my guy Adonis is calling me. I don't know, man. I got to get back to my guy Adonis, man. I have not hit him up back in a while. I keep getting busy. He's calling me right now. We're on live. I'm going to let you guys go, though, for now. This is Paulie TV. I'm Paulie Malignaggi. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think about the April schedule, what you think about what's your favorite fight on the April schedule, what you're looking forward to watching, what you think is going to happen, what agreements and disagreements you may have on my takes on the April schedule. Check us out. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm Paulie Malignaggi.